Hey, I'm CDiinky. Alrighty guys, we are back once again with more grounded negative reviews. You guys seem to enjoy my previous video where I went over some of the grounded negative reviews of like recently, which was like January, February. So in this video, we're going to do the exact same thing, but this time we're going to go back about maybe 6 months. Instead of recent reviews, let's go to the 1.4 release of reviews and see if anything is different. So starting off with a bang, we have got a negative review saying diabetes and drought simulator all in one. Seriously, why does my character need to drink water every 5 minutes to survive? Green Hell, an actual survival game, doesn't consume water anywhere this fast. You also never have to eat and have almost too much food, but good luck finding clean water every 90 seconds. The balancing or total lack thereof ruins this. Okay, now this is a fair negative review if they are playing one mode where the hunger and thirst rate is like ridiculously annoying, but it's not that hard to keep track of, as you can like get acorn bits, mushrooms, and dewdrops are mainly just on grass blades, especially in the morning, and especially if you make a dewdrop collector or like a water container near the juice boxes, it's really not that big of an issue. Also, there's now water inside of the labs, which is like just saves you a bunch of time to find water. And considering this review had 10 hours playtime, I don't think they had any chance of finding milk molars, because you can use milk molars to decrease your hunger and thirst rate by, I think in the main game you can decrease it down to 25%. Obviously in the footage here I'm on New Game Plus like 26, so it's at 0.2. So in the early game the hunger and thirst rate is annoying. Mid game to late game it's not really too much of an issue. This game is okay, but you can just buy Icarus for 10 bucks less and get a better game. Everything I like about this game is better in Icarus. Also, the progression in Grounded is brutal. To get better stuff, you need to kill bigger monsters. To kill bigger monsters, you need to get better stuff. See the problem? So yeah, just get Icarus. Okay, so I've never played Icarus, so I don't know like how valid this comment is, but obviously they seem to like Icarus more, which is completely fine. Like, you can have your own opinion, but like, that's like main game progression. Like, obviously if you want to get like better stuff, you're going to need to kill tougher enemies, and once you kill those tougher enemies, like the tougher enemies are just like easier now because you got the better stuff. And then if you want to kill even tougher enemies, you need to kill the tougher enemies to get stronger. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just, that's normal game progression. Now, speaking from when I started playing the game, it definitely was a challenge killing a bunch of bugs in the upyard, such as a black ox beetle. But that's because when I played, I didn't know about the like elemental weaknesses and resistances and all that. Also, I didn't upgrade my gear, so it could be a possibility that they just were playing the game wrong and using like, I don't know, a stabbing weapon against a black ox beetle, which he's like 50% resistant to. Cool game, a lot of fun systems, but it's all outweighed by how garbage the combat is. Bugs aggroing from miles away, jank hitboxes and inconsistent timings. It's a fun game, but infuriating combat makes it a pain to play. Bugs aggroing from miles away, upper yard are definitely, those fire workarounds and the ladybird lava are really annoying. I 100% agree with that. I'm not gonna disagree with that. I agree with them just fully. Like, the fire workarounds, they're just super annoying. But the combat in the game, I think the combat makes this game unique. Like, learning perfect parries is like essential for the game. If you don't perfect parry, you're not going to have fun in this game because you're missing out a core element, and like the devs have made it very clear that this is like the way to play. And if you want the best playing experience, you need to learn to perfect parry and whatnot. And with the inconsistent timings, they could possibly be playing on multiplayer and have a bit of lag, because I know when people play multiplayer and you have a bit of lag, like the perfect parry times can be inconsistent, which I don't play a lot of multiplayer, but it has happened to me, so I can agree with that. But majority of the bugs in the game are carbon copies of each other. Like the ladybird lava and the regular lava in the lower yard have the exact same attack patterns. The wolf spider and the black widow have the exact same attack patterns, but just faster. So it's like challenging, but also like the same, so you know what you're getting yourself into. The game's combat relies on perfect timing and gives no direction towards progression. This game just sucks. Okay, I already said the perfect parry in the previous negative review, but with 100 hours in the game, you must have enjoyed the game at least a bit if you've played for 100 hours. And if you have no sense of direction, don't play a survival game. A survival game, okay, let's be real here. A survival game, flat out, you do not really get much progression. Like, the game doesn't tell you, okay, collect this and then go here, talk to this guy, and then do that. There's no actual like a waypoint marker telling you exactly where to go. It's not a story game. It's a survival game. You are the story. You drive your own story, sort of thing. But it should also be pretty clear with a lot of games, the starting area is obviously where the weaker creatures are, and then like the further and deeper into the map you get is where the harder creatures are. For some reason, when building structures, it says location obstructed, even though there's nothing when obstructing the building piece, and no other things surrounding the location when you were trying to build the building piece. Okay, now this is probably the like only negative review I've ever seen in Grounded so far that isn't like a skill issue and is a genuine issue. The amount of times I try and build a base and there's one area that just says, nah, you can't build there, it is quite frustrating, especially in the final defense when you're trying to build a massive defense and like you try to build a wall like almost close to the mixer, and it's like location obstructed and there's nothing in the way. Like, it is quite annoying. So this one review, if we all can agree down in the comments, like, we can agree with this one, right? Like, the obstruction of buildings is quite annoying. Okay, but not okay enough. Too monotonous and grindy. I don't like having to run around to simply collect resources. Also, the game doesn't really give you much guidance on where to go and how to accomplish various things, meaning you have to spend a lot of time just checking online and saying, can I be really bothered to do all this? Okay, straight off the bat, if you do not want to go around and collect resources around the world, survival games just aren't for you. That's what survival games are. You go out, collect resources, make better gear. With that better gear, you explore a new area, collect resources, and just expand on that. That's what a survival game is. Long story short, in a nutshell. So, I don't think survival games are for you. And also the grind in Grounded, I can completely agree. Grounded does have a bit of grind, especially if you are in New Game Plus trying to get all the like best modifiers. But I know a majority of you guys probably aren't in New Game Plus, so I won't talk about that. Just collecting resources, like I would say probably the candies, when you want to get your candies down an elemental path. That is quite annoying to grind a bunch of them, especially if you've ran out of locations where you can farm them. And the same can be said with the marble and quartite upgrade rocks. The game feels like it was made entirely for streamers to play with friends. The UI is terrible and inefficient, and the gameplay is tedious to the point of no longer being fun. Straight off the bat, what? Made for streamers and what? Okay, maybe I wouldn't say it's made for streamers. It's definitely a multiplayer game. That's probably what you should have said. It is a multiplayer game. The UI kind of sucks. Let's be real. The radial wheel for like console players, I believe, that's the only like building option. That is quite annoying. I myself don't understand it, so I just use the regular crafting menu. When you play a new game, the UI is going to take a while to get to and to understand, but it doesn't seem that difficult to understand. Like, you have the inventory, that's where you store your stuff. The mutations, where you can upgrade your character. Craft is your entire crafting menu. The map is where you can see the map. Quests to check quests, data to go ahead and check all the data around the map, like creature cards and all that. And the OS tab tells you what day it is, what the icons mean, your Scabby theme, and also if you are in New Game Plus, what New Game Plus you are in. And with the gameplay being tedious, granted I would say it's a bit tedious, especially if you're farming or like getting a gold card for a certain creature. It can be tedious, but you can also change different builds, use a bow against a creature, use an axe against a creature, use your fists or something like that. The game can be tedious, but you can like freshen it up, like use new builds and stuff. The story is boring and the characters are annoying. Straight off the bat, 3.6 hours, definitely did not get anywhere close to scratching a decent chunk of the story. You probably just made it to the hedge lab or something. So you can't really say the story's boring if you've barely even scratched it. Like, obviously, if you finished the game and you said story's boring, fair enough. But like, you haven't even done like 10% of the game. And you found the characters annoying, and yes, after a while, if you've played the game for a very long time, the characters' voices do get a little bit annoying, like Max saying, "It ain't no lemon crime." Pete saying, "Hey Fid," or like being like a little nerd because he's a nerd. Hoops just dunking on spiders. And then I think Willow saying, or naming a spiderling Doug. I think that's one of her lines, I remember. Yeah, after a while the characters get annoying, but there is a setting in the settings, believe it or not, that you can actually turn off character voice log and dialogue. Like, it's pretty simple, and you do not hear them say anything. You don't even hear them panting when you're out of stamina. Like, you put them on mute for the entire game. And the final review for today's video is, played it when it first came out and shouldn't have left a negative review. Really tried and wanted to like the game, but it just didn't do it for me. Felt overly grindy and barely even got a house made due to the grind. And honestly, fair enough. Making a house, especially in the early game for Grounded, is extremely tedious and annoying. It costs a lot of resources, especially considering you're only tier 1 and everything takes forever to farm up. Making a base takes forever. I remember my very first time I made a base around the very first field station you find. I built a grass wall around it, and it took me like 2 days to get, because I just was cutting down grass the entire time. It was kind of boring, and I can completely agree with this comment that making a base in the early game, or even in the end game, it can be quite annoying. But like, it's some of the items are just so expensive, especially weed stem walls. Like, you need 3 weed stems for 1 wall, and like, weed stems aren't in an abundant amount in most areas in the map. So I think the most efficient way to build a base is out of mushroom brick, because like, you can have them stackable in your inventory. But yeah, once again, building materials, really expensive to craft. Completely agree with this one review. And that is going to be the end of today's video, guys. Hopefully you guys did enjoy today's video. If you did enjoy today's video, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and heck, even comment down below. I would really appreciate that. And a massive thank you to all of my YouTube members, and especially my tier 3 members, Idiot Plays, The Stitchman, and Abby the Cute Cat Gamer. If you guys like to support me further making Grounded videos or any type of videos you enjoy, go ahead and check the membership program if you want to become a member of the channel. I would really appreciate that as well. And for those wondering, there might be a chance of the return of the Journey to New Game Plus 100.